Recording. What is up? Welcome to episode 5 of the Total Pile podcast. I'm Tyler Courtney. This is Brock Davis, and we've had a weekend. Brock, how was your weekend?
Pretty good, if I'm being honest.
Let's hear about it. Let's get the rundown because you went to Indy and you left
Yes.
on Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I left after work Thursday night. We got there at like 1 a.m. and just to talk about like the trip before we get into the tournament. I went down there with a couple of my buddies, Sebastian, Jordan, Buddy, and Justin. We got a motel, and it was one of those motels where I'm pretty sure they rent it by the hour also. Um,
Family
so
friendly.
it was, but it was cool. It was a really cool experience. Going down there with some of my friends. But the first night I was sleeping on the air mattress, and about an hour in, the air mattress like got caught on something and it deflated. So I'm like sleeping on the floor, like an hour into me trying to sleep. So I didn't sleep much the first night. Um,
I'll be honest, I'm a floor guy anyway.
Bro, it was rough.
Me and my wife want to get, I don't know if my wife does. I want one of those like Japanese, like just
Like where
mats.
it's basically just a bedroll.
Yeah, I sleep better on my
Yeah.
kids like nugget than I do on my bed.
Really?
Yeah, bro. I don't know why. I'm just getting old. Anyways, continue with your weird
Um,
hotel.
Bro. Um, and the following day we just kind of chilled out, and our buddy Justin was working the event. He was staffing the event as a judge. So he ended up playing in the Players Cup and or the Professor Cup, the one where there was like an infinite damage loop thing that just won the Professor's Cup. It was crazy. I'm not gonna go too far into that, but look it up. Isaiah built like this like infinite damage deck where like going first you could kill all your opponent's Pokemon and board wipe them turn one. It was crazy. Um, but yeah, so he
What's his
played in
name?
that. Isaiah Chevelle.
I have the list right here. I found
Yeah,
it. The
it's
Renucleus in it.
so essentially the rules of the Professor Cup was like there were no basics. Um, you could play stage ones as basics.
Right.
And essentially like there's like an infinite combo, and he goes into detail about it. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. And it's an infinite combo to basically board wipe your opponent turn one. You like cycle through your entire deck and then you board wipe them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, he played in that. We got Professor or Explorer's Guidance as our promo, and we got
Yeah. Jealous of that, dude. That's crazy.
Iron Leaves as our mat.
I wouldn't be pumped about that, but I'm not upset.
I mean, I got Iron Valiant out of Orlando, so I wasn't too upset.
Yeah, trash, garbage.
Yeah,
It's
it
whatever.
wasn't great. But anyways, so Friday night, our buddy Justin got the Professor Program Roxanne, which is like $100 on TCG Play right now. He already has two of them, so he told me and my buddy or my friend Buddy that we were gonna play. We were gonna play for it that night, Friday night. So we're like, okay, cool, whatever. Me and Buddy ended up playing the exact same 60, the Roman Stavenhouse 60 for the event. And essentially, I misplayed game 4 of our series, which would have won me the game, but I misplayed and lost. And then I was just super sad after that. Like, down about myself. I was like, okay, I get it's whatever. I went to bed sad that night, the next day sad. I was just defeated because I was like, okay, if I can't win the mirror, I'm not doing well at this tournament. So I go to bed, I wake up, and in the morning I just get ready, I put my headphones in, and I'll just go to the event. I'm just there. And I win my first 4 rounds of the tournament. To kind of go through what I played against. if it'll pull up. So round 1 I played against Shin Pao. It was just I killed a whole lot of Baxes that game and just ended up winning that way. Nothing too special, just beat a bunch of back calibers. And round 2 I played Ancient Box. Which ended up being one of your buddies.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Because he said he was from Nebraska, and I was like, "You know Tyler Courtney?" And he's like, "Yeah, I talk to him every day." I was like, "I do a podcast with
We
him."
tried to. We try to talk every day. He's in Omaha and I'm in Lincoln.
Okay.
But he's the guy who brought back the EUIC mat that I mentioned a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah, Drew.
Drew's the bum. And then I think Val also went and he learned about the podcast through Drew meeting you and whatnot. So like super cool. I
Yeah.
don't like to share that stuff. I don't know why. I always feel like I bug people when I like tell them to listen to the pod. Like I understand both sides of the coin, right? Like it's like, oh hey, you want to push it out, but like you also don't want to like overstep people's toes, right? And so like that's kind of where I am with that because like me, Drew, and Val very have a I don't want to say
Like
just
a
in
Pokemon.
a local event friendship. Like they're more
I
competitive.
got
They're
you.
like, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's not a thing where I just randomly casually bring up a podcast in a
I feel
public
you.
setting, right? Like it's just like it's like
Yeah.
it seems kind of weird. But like if they find it organically or just like kind of like how they did, right? That's a whole different ball game to
Well,
me.
when we get our marketing out there soon, they won't have a choice but to learn about it.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's like once the piles start taking over, individual
Um,
piles is all around the place.
exactly.
But no, those are two of the closest dudes I have in
Yeah.
Omaha. They're cool and they've helped
Yeah,
me a lot.
he was super chill. He wasn't excited about the matchup.
No, but he
Um,
loves Ancient Box right now, and he thinks
but
it's
like
really
he
good.
piloted it very well. Like the thing is, it got scary at a couple points. But
He
like
he texted me
Charizard's
too.
just so big.
That's what he said too. I think I still have the text too. Hold on. But I think he said he was two ancient cards away twice from one hitting a Charizard in your series.
Yeah, he was one off once for game. I basically just put up a Charizard and it was the only two prizer he could take that turn. And then another turn he was one or two cards away from two shotting it.
Oh.
So it was
Yeah,
like,
here's the exact wording I got. He's like, yeah, we played all three games. You scooped game one because you pokey stopped three supporters turn two.
yes.
And then he said, I would have one shot Zard back to back turns, but my last prize was the rod. And
Yes.
so based on the three lines of text I got, I knew it was a close one because he is a person that is so good at the methodical thinking when it comes to decks like that. He's also very good at Lost Zone Box for the same reason. Like he knows
Yes.
and he practices. I don't know how much in person or whatnot, but I know he plays a ton.
He was a
And so
very good player.
he's very good.
Like I played a lot of very good people throughout like day 1 and day 2. Like I had very good resistance in day 2 also. But so round 2 I played your buddy, which were like very good game. And then round 3 I played against another ancient box. Very good player, but I was his third Charizard of the day already at 3 rounds.
That's tough.
And he was like so game 1 was like a 35-minute game, and it was just one of those where it's like he just barely missed it in back-to-back turns, just like
You cut out there.
just like Drew did. Like
You
just
said,
like
"Oh, hold
just
on, back
missed
up
it.
2 steps." Your mic cut out. You said back to back turns, and it went blank.
Yeah, he like missed like knockouts back-to-back
Oh, it
turns.
missed
Like
knockout back.
he missed the 2-shot one turn because he hit me for 130 with the Koraidon,
Yeah.
like the 3 energy on Koraidon, and then the following turn he missed the 2-shot. So he had to 3-shot one Zard. And when you have to do that, like the game's over.
It's over. Yeah, it's over after that
Yeah.
point. But I mean, like, I still think HF Box is solid, especially in the
It's
next
solid. It's
coming
just
weeks.
it beats bad Charizard players or subpar Charizard players
Well, yeah,
for sure.
and we'll for sure go into that more when we talk about
Yes.
the Champions League. But this is what you're
Exactly.
running Indy, so let's lock
Yes.
in. And so you wanted to skip ahead. You made day 2.
Yes.
There you go.
So I won 4 in a row, and then I played Zach Lesage, and
Oh
was
my
very
god, what was he
close.
playing? Because I can never figure it
Lugia.
out. He played Lugia.
Lugia.
Did he actually have a mouse in there? The tandem mouse in there?
No.
Dude, because I follow him on Twitter. I don't know Zach very well,
Mm-mm.
but like, he's just one of the
No.
popular. He kept
No,
tweeting.
he's very kind. Like
No, I
he
have
has
no
his
doubt about
past,
it.
but he's a very kind player.
But he kept tweeting that plushy tandem mouse, and so I thought he was playing some random rogue deck all weekend.
I think his wife gave it to him like
Oh, that
right
makes
before the
sense.
tournament.
Okay,
Um,
that's fine
and
then.
then so I lost to him
Lost
and
to him
then
playing
Chin Pao
Lugia, and then lost to
playing
Chimpa.
Lugia, which is a bad matchup, and then I just double break against Chin Pao. And then I beat my buddy Scott from Memphis. Very good player, top 16 to Orlando with Iron, or top 32 to Orlando with Iron Hands.
Yeah,
Very close set, but I was very tilted after losing to Chin, and we had a 13-minute deck check at the start of the round as soon as we sat down. And I'm just like, there's a picture of me, and I'm so just mad at myself because I started 4-0. Anyways,
because you're 4-2
so
and going into round 8 or round 9.
7. I'm 4-2
Oh,
going into 7.
4-2 going. God, I suck at that. Anyways,
4-2
yeah,
going into 7.
go ahead. Yes,
Beat him like in time,
5-2.
and then round 8 I beat Moon when one game was a close game, but I just kind of rolled him at the end. I owned him, Roxanne him, and won. And then game 2 he just dead drew. And then round 9 I was debating if I wanted to ID or not, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take the ID and just guarantee myself for day 2, and hopefully I'll have a good run tomorrow.
Yeah, because I texted you that too. Is like because
Yeah.
the ID you took, the guy was 5-0-3, right?
Yes, 503.
So
So I was like,
he
okay,
had to.
he's gonna ID with
He
me.
wants the ID no matter
No,
what.
well, no, well, no. I mean, he could if he won, then he's going in.
He's 603
Yeah.
and still makes it.
603 at 21
Correct. It
points.
still feels super bad going 603 or 6 or
Well, it's the same as
513.
going 7-2.
Yeah, exactly.
The same
That's what I'm
as
saying.
I mean,
Yeah, but 7-2
anyways,
is a much better position.
exactly. So I ended the day at 6-2-1. Felt very good. Just felt the deck was running really hot. And then to start day 2, I beat Lugia. Very good player. He ended up at 10-4-1, and he ended up top 64. Very good player. And then I lost to Guardy. I just kind of had a slow game, and there was a point where I could have tied, but I didn't see the line, and he could have Iono'd me. So it could have gotten really weird towards the end of it, but he beat me. And then I played against Arctina, and it was like Arctina into Charizard seems favorable. I promise you, it's not. And then I played against Lost Tina, which is the exact same guy I ID'd with in round 9. So we actually got to play the game out, and I beat him in like a super awkward game 1 where he had to Abyss turn 1 when he could have donked me. And then game 2, he donked me game 2 when if he wouldn't have hit a Pokemon off of Flower Secting, he would get donked back. So, and then round 14, I played against another Lugia. Very good player. Already has his World's Invite, but he beat me. It was just kind of a wash. I drew kind of bad. In round 15, I played against another Guardy, and he just kind of bricked twice, and I ended up winning that. So I finished the day at 9-5-1 and at 125th place.
Yeah, I think I just actually had it pulled up here. This is your third day 2 finish.
Yep.
Total.
This is technically my best finish at a day 2.
Are you counting it because there's more players at this one?
Well, okay, so
Because you have a 68 and a 110.
I do, but at the 68th one, I finished 06 in day 2. And then the one where I got 112th, I finished 141.
What do you mean you finished? You didn't win a single
In
game
day
day
2.
2?
No.
Bro, imagine,
That's what I'm
imagine,
saying.
imagine being like that old in Pokemon that you could go winless in day two and still be
Exactly.
almost money. Obviously, back
Yes.
then you weren't almost money, but like now you would
No,
be.
like, well, no, top 64 never
No,
gets
it's
money.
top 32
Anyways,
does though. And
yeah.
you 130
So, yeah,
68 to 32 is a lot closer to 125 to 32.
exactly.
So,
Um,
but
so
yeah,
yeah, this is the best tournament I felt like, or this is the best tournament I've played at. It might not be my best finish, but it's definitely the best tournament that I've actually played, and I just felt
felt
like
the
I played a
best.
deck that I knew. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
man.
is I went away from the tournament feeling like, okay, I did something good here.
Yeah.
I did good.
And I just want to talk about the
Um,
list. One, the only question I had about the list
sure.
was because this is obviously Rowan Stavenhouse exact 60
From
from
Orlando. Yeah.
Orlando, and like you can see it here if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify. I mean, it shows that he played it for 33rd at Orlando. But the thing I was going to ask you was like obviously the 70 damaged the heat tackle Charmeleon. Did you feel like it was necessary? Did you ever
Um,
use it? Because that was my concern with Rowan's list when you sent it to me. There's no Jirachi in here, and you're only
Jirachi's not needed.
Jirachi's not needed right now, right? And then like, but there's also not a like, why not play the other Charmeleon twice with Flare Veil? What was the 70 for? Because
For
they,
Mimikyu.
but yeah, but both get knocked out
No.
by Greninja in that scenario. So why not just play the 100, the
No,
combustion
so
one?
it's for Mimikyu.
I understand the reason for the 70 heat tackle one is like it's good
Yeah.
against Mimikyu, but like why
That's
not?
the
That's the only reason.
that's the only reason. Because if
Because,
not, you kind of get stalled. You would have to two-shot a Mimikyu, which does the exact same thing that the Mimikyu is meant to do against Guardy, is to give yourself an extra turn.
but isn't the 100 HP one also one
It's
shot?
3 energies.
Oh, you're right. No, because it is it's 3 energies for
It's 3
90
energies and discard one.
for
So
how
like
much
you can't
damage?
do it 100
Oh, okay. I wasn't crazy.
or 90. It's
I
either 100
it's
or
more than
90.
70, and that's the because
Yeah,
like
yeah, it's more than 70, but like it discards energy, which doesn't preserve the energy on it. So
you're
you
only
like
playing
if they
six.
exactly.
Yeah,
So if they could figure out a way to set up another Mimikyu, then you couldn't respond to it again.
because you discarded it the previous
Exactly.
turn. Yeah,
You would have to manually
you have to
attach,
quick
which can only
search
run
and
six
man,
energies.
yeah, bro, forget that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you
that
can
was my
like
only
set.
question.
Yeah.
Really, honestly.
Um. So honestly, for the weekend, for the run that I had, if I would have played Luxurious Cape instead of Prime Catcher, it would have been so much better. Um. And if I would have
Even
cut,
without the mist?
yeah, even without the mist. Um. Just because of Lugia, Chin Pao. I didn't hit a Dialga, but Dialga was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just the matchups that I had, Baby Ancient even. Um, with all the matchups I had personally, of course, like you repeat the tournament, and I'm probably hitting 2 or 3 Zards, even though I dodged Zard all day. Played 15 rounds, it was 25% of the room. I played through 15 rounds, which is crazy.
Um, and like it's very interesting you bring it up too because like the top placing Charizard did play maximum belt. We can get into that later.
Yeah,
But
that's
it seems
crazy.
like a lot of the debate around that best ace spec in Charizard is up for grabs. Um,
It just depends what you're going to play against.
yeah, and it's a big ups to you. Day two, huge success. Like top 125 is, I guess that'd be top one. What's the
Top
breakdown?
128. 128.
128. I
I
couldn't think
got
of the
40
word.
points.
64, 128. Yeah, so 40 points from an event, huge. Um, and then you're still planning on going to Puerto Rico, right? Or no?
Puerto Rico sold out before I could get in.
Oh, tough break.
Um, I might go to LA. There's some cheap flights out to LA. I have a
LA.
friend. Yeah, I have a friend that might be going also. If he's going, then I'm probably gonna try.
Yeah,
If work will let me off is the other issue also.
yeah. Shout out my
Um,
wife. That's why I said LA weird. She thinks I say LA funny.
so if all that works out, then it's a realistic shot that I can make worlds. I still have to perform well at LA and at NAIC,
Yeah,
but like it gives me a decent chance. Because currently the route right now is if I win 2 more cups, which I'm confident I can do over the next month and a half. Um,
yeah.
if I can win 2 more cups, then I need top 64 in AIC. which is the same. Basically, NAIC is just a little bigger than Indy, and I was one win away from top 64 in Indy, or bubbling top 64 Indy. So, yeah, so it was. I feel like I can do it. It's gonna be tough. I just got to go in prepped. Put in a lot of games with Dragapult. But yeah.
Yeah. And so, like we said, like the NAIC is a whole different format, and we're focused on this one
Yep.
right now. Meta share for day one was very intriguing. Let's see if I can get this to work here, because I have a snipping tool of it, so it's like weird. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. Anyways, no, we're just gonna read it off. So like Charizard was 24% day one, Chin Pao was 11.92, Glasso and Giratina 6, Giratina Arceus was also 6, Ancient Box was 5, and Lugia Archeops was just under 5%. I don't think there's anything crazy in there. I'm about to sneeze again, my bad. I don't think there's anything crazy in there. But the real shocker is the day two meta. And I say that because in eighth place, there's 13 Dialga decks in day two.
Yep.
And
That was the
then
talk of the
that's
tournament.
the talk of the tournament, which we'll dive into more of here in a second. But also the entire top five changed. So Charizard converted well. It actually went up to 24%. Chimpao stayed at the 11-12 area. Arceus as a whole went to 10.61. They don't separate it anymore, though, on Limitless like they do on the tournament YouTube graphs. If that makes sense what I'm saying. So this is every Arceus deck, not just Arceus Giratina. 18 Lasso Box was the big jump for me. It wasn't on the day one graphic, but it went all the way up to number 4. 18 total Lasso Box. Which one did make top 8? In Dean Nazim, which is the standard Hoopa, Raikou, Manaphy, Iron Hands, Rory Moon type of Lost Zone box that Brock doesn't like. I think it's all right. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's whatever. But that seems like a big jump. It went all the way to 7%. I don't know what it was day one. Other than
wasn't
that,
very.
the top 5 didn't change. Or I guess Gardevoir changed it too, huh? I saw Lugia at 6. Gardevoir ended up finishing 5th with 17 total decks. That is 7%. So the bottom 2 decks of the top 5 changed. Lugia, Ancient Box, and Arceus Giratina moved out of the way for Gardevoir Lost Zone Box. Anything crazy you saw about the meta in the room besides all the Dialga talk?
I was about to say Dialga and Chinpao was just everywhere. Like all around me, because I was like not at the top tables, but I was near the top tables. It was just like I looked to my left and my right, and I'm like, bro, is that Dialga?
Yeah.
So it was just when I tell you it was everywhere, it was truly everywhere in the room. It was really crazy.
At least towards the top and the middle part of the table, because obviously, like we're talking about it in realistic numbers here, like out of the 200 players or whatever it is
Yeah,
that
like
made day
towards the top
two,
tables.
right? Like only 13 of them made day two, but I know like a lot of big name players like Gabe Smart played it, and so people who also didn't, make day two played Dialga as well. It's not like it's just we're talking about day two's importance. I remember the tweet. I think it was Chip Ritchie tweeted it out, but like at one point in time at table one on day one was Goldango versus Dialga, which is hysterical to think about at table one. And this is like late in the day too. I want to say it was like around 7 or 8.
I think it was Jose Marrero.
I'm not sure. Because they don't tell me the deck breakdown
Okay.
like that. I just have the top placing Goldango list. Is way down there. So I mean maybe top placing Goldango. We're scrolling, still scrolling. It's past you. If that helps you out or makes you feel
I think
better.
it's Jose.
Charles Legato at 178, and then Jesse
Okay.
Bronson missing two. Missing two. I didn't see it. I guess I missed it. Long story short, there's only 4 Goldengo in day 2 anyway. Um, but that's super cool. I hope that the Goldengo eventually gets good again because I think it deserves to be good. Um, but yeah, at one point in time, it's just like decks are coming out of nowhere for no reason. And I guess the main one, I guess Chen Pal's not out of nowhere, but the top 8 itself had 4 Chen Pals in it. 1, 2, yeah, 4 Chen Pals in it. 1 Dialga, 1 Lost Box, 1 Pidgeot Control, and 1 Charizard. That's crazy because I predicted 10 Charizards in the top 16 and there's only 2. We were totally off from last week's podcast before we traveled.
Like, I just think one. I think a lot of the top players who did not want to play Charizard.
Get closer to your mic.
Yeah. So I said I think a lot of the top players
My guy.
were not playing Charizard, and the people playing Charizard were the people like myself, which are like the slightly above average players. So it just led to these more roguish, not rogue, but like lesser known decks to be good. Because like I'm putting Dialga in like the same sphere that I put like Rapid Strike or Shifu last format. It's like we know it's a good deck, but
Ooh, see, that's a
how good
debate.
is it?
I don't know if we knew it was a good deck. That's I don't know.
Well, no, it's an unfair deck, is what I mean by we know it's a good deck. We know it's an unfair deck because if you can ever take a 2-prize knockout with what's it called?
Star Chronos.
With Star Chronos, then
yeah, it's we talk about it in previous weeks. Cards that break the rules of the game are normally good. And just no one found a way to make Dialga great yet. Exactly. Because we all remember the old Magnezone deck, where you had to like play 1 Miraidon, tandem unit for the 2 electric Magnemites, rare candy into Magnezones, and then look at the top 6 and attach to Dialgas. This is a lot easier than that, a lot more consistent than that. And we lead into that with Andrew Hedrick won the entire event with Dialga. And it's such a consistent deck. It scares me because there's not a single card you would want to change in this list. It's 4 Research, 4 Iono, 3 Boss, a Prime Catcher, 4 Ultra Ball, Nest Ball, and then 2 Buddy Buddy Poffins and 2 Pokegear, and then 15 Steel Energy. Like, it's literally as skimmed down as you can make it. Yeah, it's so basic. And the thing with this deck, obviously, like the Chen Pao being weak to Steel helps a ton in this top 8. But even just how you maneuver with this deck, there's not a lot of options. It's not. It's very straightforward. Here are your cards, and here we go. You have to sequence everything so properly with this deck, or it's going to cost you. Multiple casters over the weekend talked about how you get to, the order. I guess you don't know the order. You don't know the exact order, but with Metal Maker, it puts the 4 cards at the bottom of your deck. So you get a feel of the type of order your cards are in. And that takes a lot of
4 card blotches.
Sectors.
Yes.
Yeah, and so like knowing when to restart with Mew, or knowing when to Iono before Metal Making, or those types of things you can only get by sequencing correctly.
Yes.
I think the big thing with me and like not playing this exact 60, I've played like other Dialga decks for fun on the ladder before this weekend. But it's just knowing when to research before Metal Making or the opposite. I definitely was not playing 4 Rod, so like this deck seems like the odds would be a lot higher to make sure you don't miss on Metal Making, and he really didn't. And because he played the first game on stream day 1, and then they also streamed his top 8 match. Like, I think the only thing we didn't see it play against was a Charizard. It didn't even, I don't know how many he played over the weekend itself,
I know he lost to one in day 2.
Right. And then so like the thing I was gonna say though, but I know what it did beat. It did beat Pidgeot Control in top
And it
4,
also
which is
he also
crazy.
played I think it was either 7 or 8 Shin Paos
Yeah. So
throughout the weekend.
very good deck selection for a meta call. In multiple interviews, Andrew Hedrick also said that he thinks the Zarn matchup is also closer than people think, and matchups are better. He said he would put it as the third best deck in this format behind Shin Pao and Charizard in his finals interview. Which like hats off to him, man. Like it's very I wouldn't say unusual. It's very rare that a new deck wins a regional its first go around, right? Like, and you could argue every deck that's won a regional so far this year, including the Charizards in pre-rotation, was already established. This is a very new thing that has led to winning, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And then we look at the top 8 a little bit further in depth. Fortune Pals. I'm on Andrew's deck twice. Nick Moffitt, Eddie North, Andrew Mahone, and Grant Shen. Who Grant Shen got what, 2? I think that's his second finalist appearance this year, or something like that. He's been all
I
over the
want to say it's
place.
higher.
I mean, you can't finish second higher more than once. He got second.
More.
He got second at Indy, and um, that's it
No,
for
I'm
this
thinking of
season.
last year.
Maybe
Yeah,
it was
I'm
last
thinking
year.
of last
Oh,
year.
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because he
It was
his
Hartford last
yeah,
year.
because he got 8th at Peoria and 7th at Toronto.
He's been consistently like around that top 8 all year.
He's very good, very good.
Very, very, yeah, very good. Very good.
And then the Pidgeot control, it's very similar to the EUIC list, but this one plays Wigglytuff instead of the Bouffalont, and it's got the Cloth in it. This is very much an online deck that is now getting popular in person, if that makes sense. Very, I think All Out Blitzel was credited in a lot of tweets over the weekend for this type
Yes.
of list. It's got the cloth in it. It's basically a Bouffalont, right? The cloth, if I remember correctly. Yeah, if this
It
Pokemon
doesn't
is
lost zone it.
it puts it in the
Yes.
discard pile, but it's the same concept.
Yes.
If you go attack into cloth, you have to discard an energy from the attacking Pokemon.
Very similar. Yes.
As you can tell, I'm not a control expert, but this does get to play the one Snorlax in it. I think the EUIC list played 0 Snorlax in it. Very fun deck, I guess you could say. I'm not a control guy. You want to shine any light
It's
for on control?
I mean it's just very much like it. I think it's the best way to play control right now to combo because you can just win games just based off of 2 Snorlaxes.
Yeah.
But it's not. I still don't think control's in like the greatest spot. But a lot of the Charizards have just started cutting the Team Yell's Cheer plus second Turo, so they're playing like 1 Turo plus Palpad, which is harder for them to deal with like the control package. So if control was going to do well, it's a tournament for it. But like I sat next to Drew Kennett, and he was talking about how his opponent started Rotom against him, so he took the 50-50 shot to where like he didn't fully set up like he normally would against a Charizard because he assumed it was control and ended up being Charizard and he lost because of it.
Ooh. And you mentioned Drew Kennett too. He also finished 96th with Dialga. Not sure who was the inspiration behind all this, but he's been playing Dialga since post rotation. So shout out to Andrew or Drew Kennett, however you want to go by it. But he played it at EUIC, Orlando, and Indianapolis. So wanted to highlight him. That
Very good player, been
is
around a long time.
that is still the 60 from Andrew. Other than that, anything from top 8 you wanted to talk about? I think everything else, like there's so much Chen Pao here, but we talked about it because of the lack of top players playing Zard. It made it easier for the top players playing Chen Pao to run the field.
So Ian Rob's list is a little interesting. I mean, it's still a basic Zard list, but he was playing the max belt for the
Oh,
mirror.
right.
And he played. So he was doing more of what I was just talking about. He played the one turbo plus the PAL pad.
Yeah.
And like the argument with the PAL pad is the fact that it can become 2 of anything or 3 of anything in your deck. Um,
Of
it could
supporters.
technically be of supporters because like you PAL pad them back, but like with Charizard, you're not seeing like a ton of cards a turn. The issue you get to pick out a single card every turn with Pidgeot,
Mm-hmm.
but finding turns to be able to use PAL pad plus get back the supporter that you PAL padded. Like, let's say you wanted to use a Turo in back-to-back turns, but you only play one. Like, if you use the PAL pad, then you would need to found the PAL pad first before you could use your Pidgeot. You can't Pidgeot and then for the PAL pad, then try to find the Turo most
Yeah,
of the
you
time, unless
can't.
you get your hand down,
It's the
which you did.
same. It's the same thing with Team Cheer, right? You can't Team
Exactly.
Cheer the Turo back in and then Turo again, right?
Yeah, the PAL pad you technically can, but you have to see it off the bib. So you have to thin down your hand as far as you can. Like Pidgeot for the PAL pad and then Bibberel up to see the Turo that you just
Correct.
put back.
Yeah.
So
Either way, it
I'm
seems
not a big fan of
awkward.
the PAL pad. Yeah, it's very awkward.
Um, it's
And then
also
the
like,
max belt is just for the mirror and Chin Pao.
yeah, we also saw like that's why Tor played, and I think he talked about it online too. It's like the Team Yell's cheer was better because it was a third super rod for Pokemon
Yes.
and 2 supporters, which
Yeah.
made him play the 2 Turo, so he didn't have to do all in one turn. But either way, no matter which version of the deck you play, one of the skill gaps or caps, whatever you want to call it, is knowing and finding that right turn to Pal Pad or Team Yell's cheer or whatever
Exactly.
comfortably. And so either way, super cool list. Like I said, we talked about maximum belts as well, and Hero's Cape from Sao Paulo winning the whole event last week. I still think the debate on a spec for Charizard is very weird. I mean, it's so meta dependent or
Yes.
comfortability dependent. Like I love having it's technically your fifth gust if it's a prime catcher. Obviously, I think you might change your list slightly if you're playing Prime Catcher. You probably play one counter catcher instead.
Yeah,
But
if you're not playing the prime, you have to play a second counter.
well, I'm just saying I said five because Ian played 2 counter catcher and 2 boss plus max belt, and so like
Yes.
it all just depends on how you change your numbers up. But yeah, so only one Zard in top 8, 2 in top 16, which is crazy. You mentioned your loss to Lugia. The top placing Lugia was 17th, and Chris Cooper. So cool on him. Nothing crazy there with the Lugia list that I'm aware of. Snorlax, Mew, Luminion, 3-3. Yeah, it's your basic Lugia. He plays Max Belt though instead of Master Ball, which is interesting.
Most Lugias that did well, from what I saw, were not playing Master Ball. Lesage played Master Ball, of course, but like my round 9 or round 10 opponent, my first Lugia player played Prime Catcher.
Yeah.
So like,
Um.
there's definitely validity to it. It's just one less energy you have to get with Chinchino. So you only need 4 energies with the Chinchino for the max belt, like what you're talking
Right.
about.
Um. With that being said, I think that kind of wraps up a lot of what happened in Indy. I think the main question is Dialga here to stay? And I don't see why it wouldn't. 280 still an awkward number for Charizard to hit overall. You have the steel weakness in the Chien-Pao. Like, do you have a reason why Dialga can't carry on? Not necessarily winning every tournament. I don't think it's going to win the next 3 regionals. But, like, why can't it not be a top contender
I
in
think it's
most of these
definitely meta.
sports?
I definitely think it's meta relevant now. How much relevancy? I don't know, but it definitely is going to be a meta relevant card, or meta relevant deck now. Uh, moving forward, like you need to know how to play against it if you want to succeed in tournaments going forward in this format.
which like I struggled to do that. Now we mentioned it. I think it was either last week or the week before. I had a mid off versus a Dialga player at a League Cup, and yeah, it's just like it's such a weird.
It's
I
awkward.
think the best way to put it, and I think Andrew said this in one of the interviews he had over the weekend. Because he was interviewed like 3 times because they showed him on stream day
Yes.
1, day 2, and finals. But it's such an
Yes.
unpracticed matchup, and because there's so many energies and ways to accelerate them, you can't really just attack Matang like that unless they start slow. Obviously, if they have like, oh hey, draw pass, go after Matang, right? But like if they have a fully established board with the Cabalion on it, or the what's it, Zamazenta, with the
Yes.
Zamazenta with Retaliate and a
You kind of
Dialga
have to deal
V
with that.
or a Mew or a like if they have 2 attackers plus 2 Matang and a Greninja on there, whatever you choose feels like it's the wrong choice in my opinion. Like I could never figure out just in
You you
general
definitely go
play.
after. You definitely try to just go after the Dialgas.
And 280 is such
Um.
a big number for most decks, right?
Yes.
Like Charizard can't want to hit it until you've taken
It's
4
taken
prizes, or it's Radiants
three.
are no, because 3 is
Yeah.
270.
You Defiance ban or
I
Choice
know,
Belt.
but that's if you're losing though. Because I could
You
just save Star
probably
Chronos. You could just save Star,
Choice
you know.
Belt. Choice
I
Belt.
Yeah, but like, did Ian Rob even play Choice Belt? I think
Yeah.
he just played Defiance and Vitality, right? Or is that what the Lugia list I was looking at?
He
Max.
plays
Oh, he
Choice. He
played.
doesn't play Defiance. He plays a Choice instead
Oh,
of a
he doesn't play
Defiance.
Defiance. Okay.
No.
Long story short, Dialga is a very weird deck to play against,
It's
and
very
it
believable.
definitely changes how you set up your tools. Because previously, Choice Belt was only relevant into Arceus and Tina, and Max Belt's only relevant into Zard and Chien-Pao. Well, now you kind of need both. Like Defiance Band only works if you're losing. Dialga's probably losing early on in most decks, right? It's just kind of the nature of a slower building deck like that. And then they can just start Chronos you for 4 prizes in a turn if you have a Rotom or a Pidgeot or
Yeah.
a Luminion down or whatever. Or even like a Roaring Moon. Andrew doesn't play a Vitality band in his list, but if you just play one Vitality band instead of a fourth Ultra Ball, you can start Chronos a Roy Mooney X, a Iron Hands EX, Entei V. Like there's so many different options in this list. Like yeah, you have to cut consistency cards, but like I'm not. Like, it's not impossible to find a place for one Vitality band. And so it definitely the map routing, however you want to word it, is going to be weird going forward. Um, and before we talk about Japan, do you think Dialga survives going into NAIC?
This was like the debate on our car ride home, was if we think Dialga survives. Personally, I don't see it surviving, but I wouldn't be like, so I don't see it, but if it did, I wouldn't be that surprised.
So I'll take the opposite side. I think it does survive. I understand why you don't see it. The biggest things for me that make it survive into post rotation, one, you could just play the 70 HP Beldum. Yeah, you don't get the cool magnetic lift ability attack anymore, but the 70 HP Beldum that came out with the Metal Maker Matang also only has 1 retreat cost still, so it's basically the same kind of card, just a weaker attack. And then the reason why I think it survives even more is the Matang has 100 HP. So the only way it's getting bench sniped besides Dragapult slowly is Wellspring Mask. But you're also playing for Matang. It's one of the very weird, we talk about bench snipers and sitters and whatnot. Most on average are like 2-2 lines or one but barrel lines and stuff like that. This whole deck is 4-4 Matang. And so like how easy it is to set up that kind of consistency line, I think is the reason why it can survive. overall too, like it's just like the 280 is awkward for Dragapult. If like you could still pull off a clean Star Chronos turn on the Rotom that Dragapult's been playing, and then use Metal Blast into a Dragapult EX or a Dracloak or whatever. Like all the same lines still exist because it's the same kind of line you would take playing against Charizard now, if that makes sense. So I think it survives. Well, we'll see. Time will tell. Testing is always the answer, and we'll find out before NAIC, hopefully. And we'll segue that into card of the day. We were just talking about post rotation and Dragapult, and that leads us into Lance. This is not the only time this has ever happened before. But full art Lance, which from what is it, Silver Tempest? So it's like what, 2 years old now? 3? When was Silver Tempest released?
Two.
2002. Yeah, 2022.
No.
It'll be 3 years in next year on rotation.
Yes.
End of 2022. Search your deck for up to 3 Dragon Pokemon, reveal them and put them into your hand, and then shuffle your deck afterwards. The reason why this is card of the day is because I bought this for Dragapult before we started doing City League watches at $3 a piece. I think it's like $3.41 or something like that.
Did you end up picking them up?
I did. I have them. They're physically in my binder. They spiked the weekend before the Champions League at $24 for whatever reason. TCG Direct Player has an 1855. This is not a hey Tyler, you're a trading god. No, this is I just like playing cool artworks that are below $4. Because like Artisan Gold, I don't know if you were there this either. The Gold Artisan Stadium is like $3.25. So like I'll play 3 Gold Artisans in my Roaring Moon to Dunsparce list. So stuff like that, I'm all for buying. So I literally bought the Lances just because it was Lance at $3. I didn't know if I had enough Lances in the normal artwork to play the deck. Because it is popular to see 3 or 4 Lances in some lists. So any thoughts on Lance, Brock? We talk about it now. Or how you view cards on the market. Are you a low rarity player? Are you a high rarity player? What's the word?
So I'm a big like the Pokemon, like the trainer gallery stuff. I'm really big into that kind of stuff. Like my cardboard deck class format.
The alternate
Yeah.
arts. Not the secret. You're talking about like the
like mana, like this weekend my Manaphy, my Bidoof, and I think that was it. Were the alternate. Oh, and my Lumineon was the alternate rare.
You're talking about.
So like I like having like my support Pokemon.
You're talking about the Rain Splash one, right? The bench. Where's that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Crown Zenith Manaphy.
Yeah, Crown Zenith. There's the set name I wanted. Manaphy. The one with the cool background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I like playing with stuff like that, but like I play with the Heart Gold Soul Silver energies.
Yeah.
And that's really the only flex I have but I've had them forever. But yeah, I'm very much min rarity person, but I do buy and sell cards. So I keep a pretty close eye on like how the market goes. And I had a feeling that Lance was going to go up, but I just couldn't justify spending like $400 to attempt to do a buyout on it.
Bro, who does that? Buyouts. Now we're getting into crazy territory. I could never.
But yeah, so the card jumped from $3 to $10, which was the first buyout. Then the market got reflooded at $10, and then a second group of people bought them out up until the $25 mark.
Yeah, it was,
and it sat there for like a week, and then it like settled back down to like $15, I believe now.
Yeah, it was like $3.30 on the 25th.
Yes.
And then it ended.
It was crazy.
It ended the 28th at $24.61. It's like high 17, low 18 now. Actually, this is $15.98, depending on who you are. It's a cool artwork. Nothing's crazy about it. But like Lance is just I mean, it'll be sick in this Dragapult deck. Which then
Yes.
what? Dude, words. Um transitions us into the Sapporo. Do you think I'm saying that right? Sapporo Champions League. Oh, that's the wrong button. I want the camera. There we go. Into the Sapporo Champions League, which was won. Which Brock, do you even know what it won? What
I
won
don't know
the?
which one you're looking at.
You don't know what won the event?
No.
Maridon.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Maridon won the entire event. The first legal tournament in Japan with all the cards from Twilight Masquerade. And the reason why I say it like that because they got like Blood Moon Ursaluna and a few of the other cards from
They get
they
half of
get
it.
half and half, right? Half and half sets.
Uh,
This is the first tournament where Dragapult and the Ogrepons and like Blissey EX and stuff was available. And good old Maridon took down the entire thing. It only plays one brand new card, and that is in Stellar Fish, dude. Which is the Toxagiri.
Stellar
It
fish.
plays Stellar Fish, which is actually a super cool inclusion, right? Because you're normally either playing the rescue board or beach court anyway, in old
Yes.
school Maridon lists. Um, but man, it's crazy to see it. I highly recommend you go watch the finals anywhere, whether it's the original Japanese stream on YouTube or a content creator uh, commentating over it. Um, but he won, or I guess they won in the final turn off of, I want to say it was either restart or concealed cards for two cards, got DTE boss's orders to amp you very much for game on um I can't remember what he, because obviously when you that happens you don't actually move cards around on the board like you're like, hey, I have game in hand now because of this
Yes.
interaction. Because he only had two prize cards left, he just amped you very much something that wasn't Gardevoir EX. Um and won the whole thing. I mean, this is your basic Maridon gets. It's three Maridon, two Iron Hands, one Raikou, one Raichu. The Zapdos from Go, four generators, 16 energy. They played two DTE and one heavy baton, but like I think the heavy baton's only there now because we don't have Flaffy, right? Like it's, I mean, at the end of the day, it's basically what it replaces, Flaffy.
Pretty much, yeah.
Any thoughts on Maridon?
I think the only reason Maridon's really here is because it has Dragapult matchup and it has a good Lugia matchup. Which are like two of the are probably the two biggest decks in the format post rotation.
Yeah, and we say it has a good Dragonpult matchup. One, because you've been playing post rotation a little bit.
A little bit,
Um,
yeah.
but and two, the basic theory behind it is there's no more bench sitters for Maridon anymore. I
No.
think this matchup is a lot tougher for Maridon if
It's just big
Flaffy was
boys.
still if Flaffy was still legal, right? But like
Yeah.
Charizard, Chen Pao, Rory Moon to Dunsparce, um, control lists, everything's playing something small in a way. And something like this, you're not playing anything small. Your smallest HP is the Tatsugiri, and you don't necessarily have to play that every round. Plus, you play the switch cards and all that stuff. And if you damage it anyway, you just put rescue board on it and retreat it out. So if you're going to take the time to knock out a Tatsugiri playing Maridon, then Maridon players just going to make you play odd prizes the rest of the game, right? So super interesting list. Um, but then the second place list I think is even cooler because this is, we talked about this card briefly in between, is Gardevoir. And the reason why I'm hyped about this Gardevoir list because it plays the new Monkey Dory. Do you remember what Monkey Dory does?
Yes. It if it has a dark energy attached, you can move 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon.
Correct. And the reason why this is broken is because now you don't have to play Hero's Cape. If you look at this list on YouTube or on the Spotify page, they are playing the A-Spec Hyper Aroma, which is the new A-Spec that lets you search for 3 stage 1s and put them into your hand. Well, how do they do all this damage then? Well, because Drifloon can now be healed if you have a dark energy on a Monkey Dory. You can move the extra 3 damage counters on Drifloon to the active and then put it back up to the 100 damage on it. So then that still gets you to the 330 math you need to one-shot a Charizard, or in this case, Dragapult or whatever might be in that scenario. So Hero's Cape is not necessary anymore in Gardevoir based on this performance. Obviously, it's best of 1 and things are a little bit different. But super cool list. This actually plays Cresselia again because you're able to heal damage off your board even more than you thought you could. And then a lot of the baby stuff on the bench, like Dracloaks and whatnot, like you can just Moon Glow reverse them for 100 damage if you spread your energies out correctly, which I think is massive. I never even thought about Cresselia even coming back to the format after it left for the tool version.
Yeah, Cresselia coming back is weird.
Very weird.
But it makes sense to be able to like snipe like opposing Dreepies and stuff. And I guess technically if you put enough damage everywhere, then it can just kill Dracloaks.
Yep. Just 5
damage counters.
Well, 4 to the bench, 2 to the active, right? Like just 5 total. However you want to do it. Right? Doesn't have to.
You need 5 total, yeah.
5 total. Yep. And so super cool list. And this also makes I hate to say it. This makes Rabsca more necessary. The answer to this Cresselia is obviously still Jirachi. That's just the easier one to play. But like that goes back to the setup of, do you want to play Jirachi and Manaphy and Greninja and Dracloak or whatever your list is playing? Like that's still a very clunky board state. And so Cresselia can take advantage of that, or Screamtail. And then here we got the 3rd place Dragapult list. They actually lost to the Gardevoir in top 4. That match was streamed. This is our very first look. Brock, you've been testing it a lot. What are your thoughts on Dragapult? What's your favorite way to play it? How does that compare to this 3rd place list?
So my favorite way of playing it right now is the I'm still not seeing the list that the league that you're doing. I'm like lost in the.
Oh, you're lost in you're lost in the sauce.
Yeah,
because are you not on PCCG Legends, bro? Shout out.
No, I'm not. I can pull that.
No, I got you. I just sent it to you.
So, my favorite way of playing it right now is just basically TM Evo plus.
You said DM Evo.
TM Evo plus Charizard. TM Evo plus Charizard.
That's so much. I get why you like it, though. I do.
So it's just the TM. Well, okay. So the biggest issue that I was having with the deck is like, yes, the deck just runs through its deck so quickly, but the finding your attacker to be able to kill opposing Dragapults and opposing like Lugias and stuff towards the end of the game was just hard to do. Yeah. So the Charizard just kind of fixes that.
Yeah.
Charizard just says, I hit for 300 after you've taken 4 prizes, and you can manipulate that with the damage from the Radiant Alakazam and from like previous turns of Dragapults.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing with the Scoop Up Cyclone in mind. And Halucha's coming in and out. But I think it is just Unfair Stamp is the way to play it. I was not playing Rotom in mine, but because I was playing the Team Evo, and basically the logic is like if you're playing the Rotom, then you can't play Team Evo, even though this list is playing both. I don't feel like that's correct. just because it feels like if you're gonna go like if your goal is to TM Evo every game, then that's the route you go down, and you like stick to your guns about that.
Yeah.
But I can see the logic of trying to combine both, especially with the Zatu engine.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like the Zatu engine
Because you're
personally.
potentially with this type of build with the Zatu and the Dracloak, you're potentially looking at 2 cards off the Zatu plus
You see
2
10
off of
cards
each,
a turn.
and then yeah, potentially if you have a full bench of just
Yeah.
Zatu and Dracloaks. But obviously, I think you're gonna have 1 Rotom on the bench, potentially 1 Radiant Alakazam on the bench,
Yeah.
and so
You see
super
up to 10
interesting.
cards a turn.
You can see up to 10 too. Yeah, absolutely. Fourth place is Lugia. And this highlights, or sorry, did I say fourth or third? Fourth. Yeah,
This is
fourth place. Yeah,
fourth.
fourth place Lugia. We talked about it a little bit. It highlights the legacy energy. It
Yes.
plays the Ursaluna. It plays the Iron Hands. It only plays 1 Luminion. But the biggest card that we didn't think about, I mean, we cut it a little bit. I didn't think it'd have that much of an impact. This is playing 3 Carmine, which is you can
Yes.
play this going first, you can Luminion for it, and guarantee discard your hand, draw 5. It's basically just, I mean, remember when Lugia had to play Squawkabilly to help it out? Like, that shit was so bad. But this is
Yes.
basically, Carmine just solves a lot of the issues with the deck. Basically, if you look at this list that finished fourth, they only changed the A spec to Legacy Energy, threw in Ursaluna and cut down Ursaluna and Iron Hands and cut down the Minccino line to 3/3. And that was it. Like, it's basically, that's kind of it. It's still the 16 energy. You play Carmine instead of other clunky supporters and balls, right? Like, it's just, we're gonna speed through our deck again, and we're just gonna be Lugia.
So basically, the debate right now, and through my testing and theory, we haven't put a ton of games on paper, but it's mostly just theory right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is do you play Minccino or not? Because if you play the Minccino, you have to play a minimum of a 3/3 line to get the use out of it.
Yeah.
But it might just be worth it to like play the Wellspring Ogre Pawn and play other attackers such as like Radiant Charizard.
Yeah.
There was one other one that I've been seeing, but I can't think of it off the
The
top of my
re
head.
and I'll step in this, and this is all theory. I haven't tested paper like you said. The theory in my head is that you have to play Minccino and Cincino. And the reason why I said that is because this list is not playing any Roseanne's backup.
Legacy
And
can only be used once.
right, but the rainbow effect is forever.
Is it?
Yeah. So if you read the card, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 1 energy type of, but provides
The
only
life
1.
do effect.
The
Okay.
life do effect is what resets, which is
Gotcha.
perfectly
It's
balanced. Not
fair.
mad at
It's
this. But the reason why I think you have to play Minccino and Cinccino is because you're not going to be able to Roseanne's backup every single turn to get that one specific rainbow energy back. And obviously, Lugia can't play luminous energy. Like, and so I think you have to play Cinccino in this scenario. This deck cut the Snorlax, right? If you're gonna play a Snorlax or something, or maybe 2 Blood Moon Usonas, then maybe I could see something a little different. But if you're gonna expand it to the Wellspring Mask and expand it to Radiant Zard and other stuff, I think it makes it less consistent because you have to Roseanne's back up your only Rainbow Energy per turn. And that just seems terrible to me because you can't Boss, you can't Iono, you can't Serena. These cards that make Lugia so good because it can just accelerate every turn and then Boss or Iono you to smaller hand sizes every turn is what makes the deck good end game. But if you
But
have,
then you're setting up. But the thing is like you're setting up a stage 1 every
but you
turn.
could in this scenario that you could literally set up the Ursaluna once, the Cinccino once, and the Lugia once. Right, but if you're gonna do Wellspring Mask, Radiant Zard, Ursaluna, and Iron Hands, all of those except for Ursaluna need the Legacy energy, which makes it seem harder to me. This scenario only 2 cards, which Luminion you should hopefully not have to attack with a whole bunch, goes back
Well,
into
so
your deck.
the Wellspring Ogre Pawn, the only time you're attacking with it is when you're taking 2 prizes with it.
Correct, but like you
Yeah.
still have to discard all the energies attached to it.
No, it goes back into the deck.
I thought it was discard. Where's
No,
Wellspring
it goes back
mascot?
into the deck.
Where's
That's what makes it so
Wellspring?
good.
Okay, well then Wellspring might be good too. Theories. I don't see. Is it in the ninth place list? No, Wellspring Mask is not
Uh,
in either. But
no, it got figured out later. Like it's in the later City League stuff.
okay, well, we'll look at City League stuff like next week. But this is
Yeah.
also interesting too, and I'm glad we pulled up this ninth place list because they played the Weird Deer. The Weird Deer is back. I think it's another great attacker that is similar to Cinchino, but it accelerates all of its energy up front, right? You don't have to all have it sitting on Minchino or Cincino. You can just pull it all up with Weird Ear and spread it out a little bit. We haven't seen Weird Ear in the West for a long time in Lugia lists. So that was interesting in my opinion. Any thoughts on Weird Ear?
I still don't like it.
Yeah,
I didn't like it when they got played last format. I do like this list a little. I like and dislike this list more because it only plays two Cinchinos, which I don't feel like is very good if you're gonna go down that Cinchino route.
yeah.
Um,
They also put
the
the
Weird
70
Ear,
HP one too. There's no more call for family.
you have to. You
Yeah.
have to.
The other
With
list played
Dragapult. You have to
the
respect.
the
It played
higher
one.
Yeah, well, I mean, call for family is pretty broken still. But I get what you're
It
saying.
played one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have. Well, that's the thing is like, so everything just goes up. Like if you the Bidoofs and everything, you just have to play the good Bidoof or the bad Bidoof again.
Yeah, you
You have
can't.
to play the bad Friggy and all that.
Yeah, man. And speaking of Dragapult, there's the Lost Zone box version that plays sixth. I think this is my least favorite version.
Yes, this
But
version's just bad.
this version, I kind of disagree because it can go not to prizer, right, for a turn and swing games pretty heavily if it plays it right. The fact that you could do a Radiant Zard for a big knockout after setting up damage counters all game is a lot more appealing to me than the Alakazam.
Well, okay, so the biggest issue with that is the fact that almost every one Dragapult Mirror and Zar, they're all playing Radiant Serena and Turos, like or scoop up Cyclones. So you're like, yes, you're spreading damage, but it's like you're not
Yeah, it's gonna be one of
because
those.
it's
It's
like
one of those
it's getting
evolutions to the
healed.
meta. No, right, and like
Yes,
and we're theorizing this for the West for people who are already testing ahead. Like I've heard, it's not the first time I've heard someone mention Radiant Serena,
yes.
talking about next format. But like, yeah, I don't. It's just it makes it seems like it'd be more inconsistent, right? Because not a single. And let me just double check this before I get in there. Not a single Dragapult list in the top 8 played the Cyclone. And so, is this a
No,
case where we're farther ahead in testing of the format than Japan? I don't know, but when we
I
mentioned
don't think
more,
it's that. I think it's just the fact that Japan one. This is a best of one tournament,
yeah,
so they're gonna play cards that they're gonna get 100% value of every single time they play when they sleeve up the deck.
yeah,
When over here we have best 2 out of 3, where like even this weekend I ultra balled away Prime Catcher like 4 times because there was just better uses of the cards in my hand than the Prime Catcher was in that
yeah.
game
And
specifically.
there's instances even just best of one League Cup style, like that still could be a
Yes,
thing, and like, and the thing I'm trying to get at too is like we're looking at lists that are like proven winning a 3,000 person tournament doing well. Obviously, it's best of one in that scenario, and donks do happen. But like that's where I get confused and like upset with like people testing so far out. Like we're already writing stuff off in a way because we think that Radiant Serena is going to be better in a scenario, right? But we just don't know in that
well,
sense.
okay, the Lost Box stuff just kind of also just you just get a way worse like ride on matchup because hands just eat you
Yeah, for
when
sure. I
like
agree. The Lost Box part itself,
yeah
I disagree with. But I
yes
love Radiant Charizard a lot more than
yes
Radiant Alakazam.
exactly. So like the thing is like Dragapult, it's another situation with your Radiant Pokemon that we're talking about right now with Charizard. Charizard technically can play 3 different ace specs.
Yeah.
Like in Dragapult, if I saw a Radiant Serena, a Radiant Alakazam, or a Radiant Charizard, I wouldn't be surprised to see any of those 3 doing
Right,
well.
and like that same argument's also on the A-Spec side. We've
Exactly.
seen Scoop Up Cyclone, we've seen Prime Catcher. Someone could go crazy and play the stage one and not play Evos at all. Right? Look, what's the eighth place? The eighth place list, if you see it, I think this is the most traditional way everyone thought Dragapult would be played. If you pull it up,
Yeah.
it
Close.
does play the 2/2 Zatu in it, which some people do or don't like, but it is one Rotom, one Luminion, Earthen Vessel, Ionos, only one Evo, and then it's playing 2 Temple of Sinnoh,
Just for
which
the Lugias.
I know, but like, why wouldn't you just play
It shuts
Enhanced
off your
Hammer?
gift.
Yeah,
It shuts off gift.
yeah, but you can
I
just
mean,
play,
I
you can just
understand.
play Hammer too.
I mean, Temple also, like, if Temple sticks for a turn, they can't Legacy Energy. So
Yeah,
that's
that
the
is
other
what.
thing.
Well, I guess that's a big thing too. It does turn off legacy energy, which
Yeah.
then gives you the 2 prizes you can need to win the game or
Yeah.
early trade.
Exactly. So like it does what Enhanced Hammer does, because Enhanced Hammer gets rid of the gift and then you can do that. Does that the turn you knock something out, but it also has the potential entire turn and force them to just attack with a Lugia to bump the stadium,
Yeah,
which isn't OHKOing a Dragapult.
yeah. Um, the other right on the list is basically the exact same 60, so we won't go deep into that. They have a couple cards different. Like this card plays the 4 Sealstone and stuff. That's the Maridon and
One
11th.
control deck.
Yeah, one control deck. But it is Snorlax control, which I feel like is weird.
Box.
This isn't a I told you so moment because Snorlax is playing the handy circulator. Like I said it would. Classic. Let's go. Let's pump up. Which is that stupid fan you didn't like during our preview last week.
I still don't like it.
But the big one here is it's playing for the Fable Flute, which is crazy.
Crazy.
That's so much.
I mean, it makes sense though.
If this was Pidgeot control, I don't think it's playing 4.
No, it might play 1.
It might play 1. But yeah, man, this is just straight Snorlax control.
But also, this just goes back to like the best of 1 thing. It's like this is just control the game
Yeah,
and just win, or it wins or loses within like
it feels so bad though. Like
when the cards flip.
and we don't see it very often too because they get double losses if they tie. There is no ties in
Yes.
Japan, so the fact that this guy got 6, this person got 6. I'm not gonna assume
Crazy.
is nuts. The last list that we can't talk about because we don't have an actual list, Ancient Box,
Ancient Box.
or a weird version of Mooney X type of, I don't know, maybe.
I would
Got
imagine
10th.
it's Ancient Box.
I assume it's Ancient Box, but like the same reasons why
And
we
there's
think
a Gouging Fire.
that's what it is. Gouging Fire is there, and then Lost Zone Tina and Lost Zone Box also finished in the top 16. Which, if you guys didn't know, they cut to a top 16 at the end of day 2.
Yep.
If
Just
you
like we should.
want to watch the streams, I think, and I don't know them, I just know this because I watched some of their streams a little bit, but Raul already commentated over it. Or if you want the Japan links, PTCG Legends has the links to day 1 and day 2 because they were like at 3 a.m. on the North American time of these events on a Thursday and Friday because they had like a 4-day weekend, I guess is what I saw on Twitter. But there is a few places that did co-commentate over it, or if you just, I like watching it in the Japan version just so I could like think of the plays myself type of thing. And so very much consider watching it. Obviously Brock didn't watch it very much, but my favorite deck, and I bought 4 of them over this weekend. Can you guess what it is? It's not on this list so far.
Oh, it's not? Blissey.
It is Blissey. And you know why it's Blissey? Because they played 3 Monkey Dory in Dark Energies. So you're literally Sharon's carrying and moving energy around the board completely while healing them with Monkey Dory. And like you could play Dark Patch, you could throw in a Mooney X if you wanted to, and just stall out your opponent until like it was literally the craziest sequence I ever saw in my life. I wish we got to see it more than one game, but the idea in concept is crazy. It was like I want to say it was like six dark energy and some DTEs, and then like Blissy's ability could just move energy around freely as it wants. The reason why I like it more than most decks, I don't know. I don't think he was playing it, but you can play the Blissey from. I don't know what set it is now. I'm gonna pull it up. But there's a Blissey where if you draw it off your prize cards, and if you're able to
It's a
bench it,
Chansey.
Chansey, sorry. How do you spell Chansey? Oh my god, how do you spell Chansey?
CHANSEY.
SE. No way. I'm like, that's chance with a Y. There's no results found. Sean, dude, I'm just going to type in Blissey and it'll tell me. But there's the Chansey where if you draw it off the prize cards, you can put it on your bench and draw an extra prize card.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or I thought it was flip a coin.
Chansey. I don't know why it's so chance. It's something broken like that. Chansey. Search. Advanced card search. I have to type it again. I'm terrible podcasting. Chansey. Okay. Anyways, we made it. Scrolling all the Chanseys ever printed ever. It's from 151, and it's this lucky bonus. He didn't play this version. I don't know what version of Chansey he played.
He
Or
played
they
the Go
played.
version.
But this seems broken if you could pull it off. And it is flip a coin. You put this card onto your bench this way, flip a coin if heads, take one extra prize. Imagine losing a game like that. You knock out something to go to two prizes left. Your opponent's on three prizes left. They pick out the Chansey, put it on the bench, slap down whatever big attacker, Roaring Moon or whoever. Which I think I don't know. That's my own twist on it. But Roaring Moon down and then just take the last two prize cards for a game is disgusting. I don't think the guy playing it on stream in Japan played Roaring Moon, but if you're playing Dark Energy, might as well just play one Roaring Moon to knock out whatever you want. So that was my favorite deck of the evening. There was one more. There was one Festival Paradise deck on stream. Not sure how well they did, but it was during day 2, so they obviously made it through the grinder. Any decks from your testing that you want to shout out before we wrap up here?
Charizard's not completely dead, but Charizard definitely
Yeah. Oh
is
yeah,
like tier
we
2.
definitely don't have the meta up here right now. I'm gonna put. I'll go. But yeah,
Charizard's definitely like a tier 2 deck now. It's not no longer tier 0 or tier S or whatever you want to call it.
it's no longer
It is no
S2.
longer best deck in the format. Dragapult is the new boogeyman. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna gatekeep a lot of decks from doing what they want to do. Also, the surprise deck for me was Lost Tina is not dead. Lost Tina is still very, very good.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that they have abyss seeking, right? Like, they don't have to rely on 4 comfy, but 70 HP is still requiring of 2 comfy knockouts. And one of the matchups I saw where they were playing it online is it's almost smarter to do a 4-3 split with your damage counters in case they do hit the switch carts, right? Because if they just switch cart enough, they just remove your damage from Dragapult for an entire turn, and then they just knock you out with
Yeah,
um, their own version of Tina or Sableye pings and stuff like that on your Cloaks. And so switch card
exactly.
really makes that uh, balanced. And that's why we say Charizard's a lot lower because they don't have the luxury of playing switch card.
No,
And a
they
lot,
play Turo.
well, they play Turo, but like a lot of the cards, like you could say 4 of switch card could solve anyone's Dragapult matchup if you're playing a high enough basic account.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
to
saying?
some extent.
It's a theory,
Because if
right?
you're playing
But
the Radiant Alakazam, like you can move the 2 off of there, take the knockout on the active, and then take a knockout
no,
on the bench.
right? But
Like there's very
I get what you're saying. You're 100% right. The Alakazam does fix a lot of the math. But the switch card answers whatnot is because Alakazam
exactly
is
yes,
moving
yes,
is
yes. I
moving
know
at
what
the
you mean.
following turn, right?
Exactly.
Because
You're taking the
Dragapult
knockout on that turn. Yeah.
exactly, and then the reaction is Alakazam moving the damage that you didn't heal to get the
Yeah.
knockout that they missed. And so it's going to be a very weird format. I don't know what to think of it. NAIC has already got me in a pretzel, to be honest with you. Like, and then how does this Dialga wrinkle affect all of it? I have no idea.
I don't think Dialga affects it a lot. I think Dialga's just
I
I
think
think
it.
it's just another good deck. It
I
is what I mean. It's like it's just another good deck.
I think it should affect it a lot, though. To be honest with you,
I
because
mean, it's another
I,
6-7% deck.
I know, but
Like that's the thing.
I agree with you in like the overall meta. But like even in our own testing, if we go back to this um, Japan result, each deck is playing either Rotom, Luminion, or a smaller EX or V, and that's why Dialga did so well against Chen Pao. Is because it can get 4 prize cards in a turn with Star Chronos, and so like if that is required of Dragapult in every list as a Pokemon like that, I think Dialga is going to have a higher than 7 or 8% because it can just take advantage of all those smaller EXs and Vs that are just laying around here. It's going to be scary. Scary, scary, scary stuff.
I don't think that like what I said earlier. I don't think it's the best way of playing it with the Rotom and stuff. I think it's just a heavy um Evo count.
Yeah. And we'll
Is
see.
my
And I agree. I think we'll figure it out together and we'll hopefully rock the same 60 or I'm playing Festival Paradise. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. Um, or I'm playing Blissey. I'm playing something Mimi for the fun for the time.
I
Um,
feel you.
I I think my last twist of the meta. Um, I'm hoping something like Alex Shemansky's Roaring Moon from EUIC will do well. And the reason why I say that now, for those that don't know, he played the Pokegear Mew X No Baby Moon version. It's basically just Roaring Moon EX over and over again. It's the same reason why Miraidon is good now and won this entire event. It's only big basics that are not knocked out by Dragapult. And so that'll be my test theory deck for the first week. And then once we get down to New Orleans and do actual serious testing, we'll see what happens. But that's my hopefully for fun pet deck I'll work on for the first few days on PTCGL. You got a fun one that you're working on yet? You don't
Um
play fun decks. Why am I asking you?
I don't
No,
play fun
you
decks
don't
now.
play for fun. Someone tweeted it out. Someone tweeted out that if you're not playing Pokemon for fun, have we lost all moral consciousness or something like that over the weekend? And I agree. Pokemon's fun first.
Well,
I know you have
so I've
fun.
been
You
traveling.
have fun
Yeah,
playing competitive decks. Yeah,
yeah.
we love you.
I
We
have
love
fun
you for
winning.
we love you for you, Brock. But damn, play a meme deck once. Dude. I get it.
I did,
No, you
and I wanted to go home. Not
play
this year. I
play it
mean,
at a local.
Tyler, I've been playing for
I need a league
20
I need a
years.
league cup where you play Wings of Union. Give me something, dude.
No,
I need one league cup, bro. Just give me
no,
something to work with. Something. This is the
no.
5th episode. We talk about Charizard. I get it.
Yeah, because it's BDIF.
Obviously not. It's Dialga based on this top 8.
Sure.
This current iteration of the meta, Dialga is winning. Um, Last thing we're going to talk about before we're going to do this very quickly is we're at an hour and 24 because of me ranting and adding extra stuff for stupidness. If you are interested in a potential playmat or t-shirt with the Totodile logo on it, please let us know. The biggest thing we're looking at here now is that we want them to potentially be done for NAIC. We do think it's possible, but we want to do it based only if we get a certain amount of orders. And that price will reflect based on orders. And then we'll gauge it based on interest. So please get a hold of us. Twitter, which will be in the link in the description. I'm at Mr. Tyler_C. And Barack is at Broccoli Aaron. 90s.
And instead of an L, it's a 1.
I will put the link of our Twitters in the description because that's hard to spell. And then I spell out Mr. It's not MR dot, which just makes it kind of weird. I need to work on Photoshop type software to make those stamps for us to put on videos and Twitters and whatnot. But we're there. So please contact us, reach out to us. Let us know if you are interested in that kind of stuff. We want to make that stuff happen for you guys if you want it. Because if we can get 20 people repping Total Pile Podcast playmats or t-shirts, it's going to get word moving. It'll be 3,180 players at this event from all over the world. So that'd be the coolest thing for us, is that we can share the pileness of this podcast with everybody. Brock, anything you want to add? Last chance.
I'm going to a League Cup this weekend. Or
Oh,
2 League.
Dude, you got a double
So-
cup weekend, bro? That's tragic.
Or I have a Friday, Saturday Cup weekend.
Friday night cups? Are you serious? What time does that start?
Yeah. 7.
No, they don't. There's no chance you just said that. You're at that League Cup until 2 a.m.?
That's where I was on a Tuesday night cup too.
No, you can't. Stop. All right, I'll reach out to the card shops in Memphis. That's ridiculous. 2 a.m. League Cups, dude? What are we doing?
The judge was falling asleep at the table.
Dude, I fell asleep hearing about it. That's ridiculous. 2 a.m. League Cups?
Yeah.
I think I have one this weekend, pending wife approval. Those of you in serious relationships understand what I'm saying. Yeah, we'll see. It's also graduation month for a lot of people here in North America. I don't know how, I guess the United States. I don't know how Canada does it, or Mexico. But so It's going to be a very chaotic month with Pokemon, graduations, League Cups. NAIC is literally a month away on the dot. And I am so excited. I can't wait to see everybody there, from Memphis and Omaha and Kansas City to Denver, or all the places that I've lived in my entire life, and Pokemon in one giant place. So thank you all for listening. Again, Twitters are in the description. My Twitch will be in the description as well. Please drop us a like, follow, subscribe, whatever you like to do. Don't matter to us. We're just here having fun. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday. Peace.
Peace.
Hold on, sir.